I know you gonna dig this.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Underground, grime, rap, music of black culture.
Stormzy, aka Big Mike, aka fuck that. Let me do it properly.
Are all terms used to describe urban music, a genre and scene that emerged in the UK over 2 decades ago. Taking influence from America's major hip-hop scene, the UK made its own lane with urban music. Originating in London from freestyles and clashes, it would begin in the shadows. But with a large growth in fan base and exposure over the last 5 years, things are starting to change for urban music.
Tonight, Stormzy will be the first ever British rapper to headline Glastonbury's iconic Pyramid stage.
I see you shining, eh?
With artists now showcasing talents on the biggest platforms and beginning to dominate the charts.
50 to 60,000 tickets sold, you know what I'm saying?
The music's now being heard all over the nation.
When I heard that I was nominated, I was like, whoa, I'm loving it. I'm happy just that everyone's got their eyes on us.
And the artists are finally getting the credit and recognition they deserve.
Give a man test.
So how did the scene manage this? And why is urban music now at the forefront of UK youth and pop culture?
I don't want to do you and I.
To start, we have to take it back over 20 years ago, to the late 90s when jungle and garage was the only form of urban music the UK had to offer. The new millennium would then start with Craig David gaining 2 number ones with his R&B melodies on garage beats. Other artists like The Streets, who represented working class Britain with a more gritty sound, would also go on to gain chart success in the early 2000s.
Original pirate material, you're listening to The Streets.
So Solid Crew would be the first to bridge the gap between garage and hip hop, proving that rap could work in the UK, not just the US.
What you call it? Garage? Garage? Urban? What you call it? Urban? Urban?
Fast forward into 2004, Wiley's What You Call It birthed Grime, a new UK original sound. Taking influence from jungle and garage, the genre was centered around raw MCs spitting on hard 140 BPM beats. Dizzy Rascal released the genre's first album, Boy in the Corner, winning the Mercury Prize for Album of the Year. Other artists such as Kano and Lethal Bizzle would go on to add to the genre's success and mainstream exposure in the mid-2000s.
Now this is Chipmunk first.
Chipmunk first, gonna step up out of North London.
Yeah, Chipmunk's out of North London. He's gonna do his
On
thing.
your grind.
He's gonna spray out the rhythm, let everyone know what time it is. Like 16 years old.
Grime had started to form a culture, one that would be a voice for the unrepresented youth, especially for young black people in the UK. Stars like Chipmunk were beginning to be made, and by 2008, grime was not the only urban music. Road rap was beginning, with MCs spitting over slower beats and lyrical content more comparable to American gangster rap.
There's an artist. Talk in the market. Everybody wants to know where walk in the park is. Walk in the party.
Giggs' Talking the Hardest soon became a UK anthem, and other rappers would premiere freestyles and music on newly created SBTV, as the genre couldn't be further away from the mainstream eye. Hip-hop group N-Dubs, however, was directly in the limelight at this time, being one of the first urban acts heavily pushed by a label, achieving 2 top 10 albums and a number 1 with Tinchy Strider.
Number one, see, I don't understand how you're number one.
What's up, darling?
UK rappers were beginning to reach the top of the charts, however the music itself was arguably compromised with pop beats and catchy choruses.
You need to let me get behind your backbone.
Dizzy Rascal was an example of how swapping the grime 140 BPM beats for bassline and house ones could lead to mainstream success, achieving 5 number 1s between 2008 and 2010.
A brand new dance is sweeping the nation.
This new style of pop rap became dominant in the late 2000s, due to it being radio friendly and still appealing to wider audiences. Catchy dance tunes like Head, Shoulders, Knees and Toes and Gracious K's Migraine Skank would also receive a lot of coverage on radio and in clubs. Young grime prodigy Chipmunk would follow the trend, releasing a series of pop songs that would lead to a number 1 with Oopsie Daisy in 2009, a sound differing greatly from the freestyles and bars which gained them attention in the underground scene prior.
Wanna walk through these ends, follow me on a truck through the East End.
He wasn't the only underground artist that made a quick jump to the charts in this era, with Professor Green, the Hackney Grime rapper, going from SBTV to a top 5 with Lily Allen in 2010 and a number 1 with Emily Sandé the following year.
Let's have a toast to celebration, get a glass out, and we can do this until we pass out.
But it would be Tiny Tempard that would headline 2010 with his number 1 debut album, featuring 2 number 1s in Pass Out and Written in the Stars. Tiny's success with this pop rap sound highlighted how urban artists and the music they was creating had changed since Grime's beginning 7 or 8 years before. Singles featuring dance and electronic beats with generic radio-friendly lyrics seemed to be the only way urban artists could get a look into the mainstream audiences. Wiley, the grime scene's godfather himself, would be an example of this, releasing pop anthems such as Wearing My Rolex and 2 number 1s with his group Roll Deep in 2010.
My name's Skepta, also known as H-A-Y, cause if I got P's I'm happy.
Skepta, another original grime pioneer from the early 2000s, would also experiment with dance beats and pop choruses to achieve his first top 20 in 2010. Urban artists were only making it to the charts by often having to compromise and dilute the music. Lyricist Wretch32 would add to the list of chart success from original grime artists creating, well, not so grimy music. Whilst it can be argued that the music of this period was not urban itself, it did however put urban artists in the spotlight and also bring out some attention to the strong ongoing underground scene. Urban anthems such as BBK's Too Many Man, as well as Next Hype by Temper T, were made around this time, proving grime in its raw form was still alive. Road rap was also growing outside of the mainstream eye. Artists like Giggs will continue to grow a fan base, shown through the rise of YouTube views the scene was starting to attract.
We went away for a bit, now everybody thinks they run.
Other rappers like Krypton Conan and K Coke were on the rise in the UK underground scene. Using platforms such as 1Extra and new YouTube channels GRM Daily and Link Up TV in the early 2010s.
Never felt better, bro. Made my hard in the park is where I let her.
These are artists who were really from and creating music for the roads, so it wasn't uncommon to see opposing gang members both releasing music, such as K Coke and Nines.
My nigga says I got the sickest flow. Too bad I'm a hustle nigga flipping bro.
On the other hand, affiliations would lead to rappers forming successful music collectives such as Squeaks, Joe Black and Benny Banks, all on the rise together at the same time. Benny Banks' Bada Bing would feature in the 2013 film Fast and Furious 6, whilst K Coke would receive a top 20 the same year after being signed to Jay-Z's label, showing there was also commercial interest in road rap as well.
Took it old school like you see me. Zim Zimmer, I could do it like Beanie.
Rapper Sneakbo also reached the charts that year with Zim Zimmer, while still releasing rap freestyles on channels like SBTV.
Looking at the hood like the streets ain't pretty. Smith and Weston's got a loud noise when it barks.
These YouTube channels were helping grime and rap become national, and showing not only London had an underground scene.
Big split for my G's in the can, wifey wants to know where I am. Tell her that I'm with
Skepta's remix of Straight Up shone light on Birmingham's scene and artists like Depsman and JK. P110 and JDZ Media would also showcase talent in the Midlands and up north, like up-and-coming Manchester rapper Bugsy Malone. But it would be Meridian Dan's German Whip that would make grime enter 2014 with a bang. Although it would only reach number 13, this was big for the scene, as it was the first time actual grime music in its true form had charted, after a long era of only diluted pop rap being recognised.
No, that's not me. Act like a waste man, that's not me. Sex in the girl, no, that's not me.
Grime had a resurgence in 2014, with Skepta's That's Not Me and Lethal Bizzle's Rye Workout both also receiving chart success and mainstream radio play, showing maybe there was no need for grime to compromise its sound. Even the Godfather himself was back to making grime, after a series of pop hits spanning the last 5 years. Krypton Conan dropped Don't Waste My Time, which would become an instant hit, attracting American rapper French Montana for the remix. They went on to win Best Hip Hop Act at the Mobos that year. And Stormzy would win Best Grime Act after his EP Dreamer's Disease, gaining attention with songs like Not That Deep. Rap collective Section Boys would use a mixture of grime and trap flows and American style beats and began amassing tens of millions of views with tracks like Trappin' Ain't Dead and Lockhart. This new wave of sound Section was producing bridges over nicely to the emergence of drill in the UK. Sounded slightly similar, however took a direct influence from the Chicago drill scene in America. Groups 6-7 and 150 were pioneers in the UK for the new genre that would depict the violent reality of gang culture in Britain. The UK urban scene was doing better than ever. Chipmunk, now known as Chip, would kick off 2015 on Fire in the Booth by addressing some shots from Tiny Temper and calling out anyone else that dares.
Is that hip hop? Is that grime? Is that urban? If it goes just over 60% over the mark of that could be at Chip, I'll be at your neck, rude boy.
Several artists would respond, but it was new money rappers Bugsy Malone's Fire in the Booth that would stand out.
Go tell Chipmunk not to be cheeky. Grime is a roting. My man's hopeless. Go make a pop tune.
Chip came back with Pepper Rhythm, addressing Bugsy Malone and Devilman whilst also mentioning Skepta.
Bugsy, I'm starting with you like go on then, turn into the devil man. I grew up on Skeppy, not devil man.
I don't know why Chip mentioned my name, but Devilman's trying to get attention again.
This ignited an old feud between Devilman and Skepta, which only drew more attention to the ongoing rap beef that Chip begun.
I wanna come against the I.
Days later, Bugsy responded with Relegation Rhythm, trafficking millions of views instantly due to the context and putting him and Grime as a whole in the spotlight.
My career, your claim to fame.
Chip went quiet for 6 months until September when he dropped 3 songs in a week directed at Bugsy and how he was the reason for his newfound fame and success. And Bugsy wasn't the only name Chip had something to say about.
So if you're gonna nominate Young and Big Up but nominate Sneakbo too, I wanna talk about me at the Mobos like I ain't earned it.
This started the second phase of the year's rap beef between Chip and Young'un, with both dropping diss tracks days apart. Clashes had always been at the core of grime culture, and it was now adding major popularity to the scene. 2015 also saw Kanye West perform at the Brits, enlisting basically the whole grime scene to come on stage with him.
A bunch of young men, all dressed in black, dancing extremely aggressively on stage. It made me feel so intimidated, and it's just not what I expect to see on primetime TV.
Despite the scene's recent rise in popularity, the British media was still not accepting of the culture. But with big tracks like Skepta's Shutdown and JME's Man Don't Care receiving record views online, grime was forcing itself into the limelight anyway.
Man don't care about all that. You're rotting now. Man don't care about all that.
Out here like the roll deep song, man. I'm trying to put my coldies on.
Stormzy would win Best Grime Act at the Mobos for a second year in a row in 2015, after dropping hits Where Do You Know Me From and Shut Up, a freestyle from which he managed to get a top 10. Grime was breaking records. Lethal Bizzle would also reach number 11 with his song Festa Skank. Grime was stronger than ever, but still not big enough for the awards apparently.
I feel like the Brits ain't very in touch with the culture yet. Like the year that we've had last year with the grime and UK hip hop has been it's been crazy. Like it's gone wild. We've gone international.
Krypton Conan's album Long Way Home reached number 2 and got a top 10 with their single Freak of the Week featuring American Jeremiah.
Party jumping neighbors can't go sleep.
I'm just in my zone.
An R&B/rap group Western got number 4 with Into, that dominated radio play for months. Their R&B melodies mixed with rap proved to be popular with mainstream audiences as well. After all of this success in 2015, the 2016 Brits would contain no nominees from the urban scene. Urban music in the UK always had ties with Caribbean culture, with influences from dancehall and bashment. So when J Hus began to gain attention in 2015 and 16, with a blend of rap, melodic hooks, and Afro beats representing his African heritage, a new wave of UK music began to form. Afro-swing.
And if you're feeling the vibe, she love an ugly man making pretty money.
Whilst rappers Timbo Mover must be credited for one of Afro-swing's first songs, Ringtone, it would be J Hus's early success that would influence similar sounds in the new wave. Artists like Belly Squad, Kojo Funds and Young Bane all gained popularity in 2016 within the scene, using a similar sound and format.
Claiming that you gon' shoot, man. Claiming that you gon' stop, man.
Meanwhile, UK rap was evolving. Mostat dropping tracks like Liar Liar and Block Poppin' showcased his rap flows and melodies on more bouncy beats.
I do music and road.
Birmingham's Miss made several tracks with Mostat between 2016 and 17 and blended rap and grime flows on similar type beats, resulting in a quickly growing fanbase.
I could have got luck for the stickle. Driving got me sitting on my arse.
After a viral P110 freestyle in 2015, within a year his distinct Brum accent and high quality exotic music videos were setting a standard. Rap was coming a long way from hood videos.
Oh well, left my CD only well in the charts.
Nines was starting to take road rap to new levels after several successful mixtapes. He signed to XL Records for a reported 7-figure number and dropped One Foot Out, which debuted at number 4.
Man's really out here in the deep end. My boot on shoes are in season.
With the underground scene growing rapidly, emerging artists such as Road Rat's Fredo and Grime's JK would also receive major exposure with high views on early releases. Original pioneers like Kano were also adding to success, achieving his first top 10 album with Made in the Manor in 2016 after a 10-year plus career.
Yeah, G goes in, bag 3-pointer, free throw team.
Whipping excursion.
Giggs would tell a similar story after a long time in the game as well, achieving a number 2 album with Landlord the same year and repeating the same chart position the following year with Wham to Them.
You're just the internet version.
This is a tale of two men, this is Jekyll and Hyde.
17-year-old Santan Dave also emerged this year with clear talent and versatility between skippy grime flows and deep reflective rap. Dropping 1-0 with almost 20 million views, attracted an official remix from American star Drake, an artist who's shown the UK scene keen interest already. Thiago Silva by Dave and AJ Tracy became a new grime anthem with 30 million views. The young generation of rappers was flying the flag high for grime. AJ Tracy's following grew in 2016 after his song Nyla, an iconic mic check freestyle, showing his blended grime flows on a drill beat.
My whole team getting high off sativa. My food's peng like Erin Bedina.
In de studio nu binnenlopen. Complex beschrijft ze als de rawest crew from England. 6-7.
Drill was also a genre that was reaching new heights thanks to artists like 6-7 and their iconic anthem Let's Lurk with rap legend Giggs.
Hot stepping in Jordan, Amsterdam, that's my second home.
2017 would see them attract national attention with their successful album Glorious 12 and touring all across Europe with a diverse fan base. By 2017, the drill scene had numerous online hits such as Abracadabra's Robbery and AM and Skengler's Mad About Bars, both on over 20 million views.
Would have thought his friend was an op. Okay, he left his brethren for dead.
Question. The music was pushing boundaries as it depicted quite bluntly the realities of gang culture, violence and knife crime in London. Emerging artists were beginning to establish themselves, such as Harlem Spartans' Lowski. 16-year-old SL dropped Gentleman and Tropical in 2017, both receiving a crazy amount of views. And Heady One dominated clubs and uni raves with his track Golden Boot. Comedian Michael Dapper would be the biggest shock when his spoof drill song Man's Not Hot would go international and receive more views than any other UK urban artist before. Drill wasn't the UK's only subgenre at the time, with a new sound emerging that mixed rap with auto-tune and melodies coming from artists like Young Fumes and D-Block Europe.
Cross the line and Ricky go tape up your house. Put that cocaine on the table like a mountain.
No, we never ever solo. My G, that's a no-go.
It would soon be known as UK wave music, with other artists like M. Honcho and Nave Smalls achieving big views with their take on the style.
You're getting way too big for your boots.
But it would be Stormzy who would headline 2017 with his debut album Gang Signs and Prayer, receiving a record #1 after being pushed by the whole urban scene. This was the scene's first #1 album since Tiny Temper in 2010. However, GSAP was more strongly representative of urban and black culture, covering everything from grime to rap and even gospel.
Gang Signs and Prayer, album of the year.
Winning a Brit, a following year, the industry could no longer ignore the music.
I know one thing for certain. You better keep your
J Hus wasn't too far behind him that year either, with his debut album Common Sense reaching number 4. Songs such as Buff Daddy and Did You See really cemented this Afro-swing sound. J5, Hus's main producer, also shared the Afro-swing sound with NSG and Gecko on Yo Darling. Afro B and Tion Wayne would also add to the style, with Minor and Grind Don't Stop. The sound would even come out of Birmingham with Lotto Boys in their debut tape, Afro Being. Artists were taking influence and paying homage to their heritage and culture. Audiences loved it.
It should be me that you're calling, you got it.
Kojo Funds got a top 10 with Finders Keepers, featuring Mabel with a blend of Afro swing and R&B.
From barking, 7 a.m. in the morning.
But Rams topped it with a similar blend of Barking, peaking at number 2.
Baby, you can be my sunshine.
And Unsigned by Hardy Capri and One Ace will be the song of summer 2017. Young Bane and Young'un got a top 10 with Bestie. His formula of rap with R&B hooks and jumpy Afro swing type beats proved to be popular. Steph London's R&B mix with dancehall featuring French Montana on Hurt and Me peaked at number 7. By 2018, UK rap wasn't a stranger to the charts anymore, also boasting both large fan bases and cinematic videos. Artists like Mo Stack and Miss would receive high views and chart positions, like Miss' debut album charting at number 5.
You better bring your body armor.
Bugsy Malone released 2 albums in under 2 years, peaking at 6th and 4th, as well as selling out shows and tours alike.
I see you looking fly today.
Nines in his trap rap album Crop Circle received a number 5 and even released a short film to accompany it, starring many faces from the urban scene.
I see you shining, trying to beat in my position.
The year also features summer hits like Energy from Skepta with his Afrobeat blend with Wizkid.
Cause I just came to relax one time. They be saying, young nigga, how you act so.
And AJ Tracy's Butterfly with Notes getting a top 20 with a soca/dancehall sound. Artists were experimenting with different sounds and styles while still representing the urban scene. Internet hits like 2018 Swarm's Leica and London by Dino and AJ had catchy rap flows and melodies and proved to be popular. Even drill was touching the charts now, with new artists Dig That landing the top 20 with Air Forces. Although the genre received much negative feedback from media and politicians alike, it didn't stop tunes like Unknown T's Homer and B gaining a large following. Funky Friday, however, by Dave and Friday would make history that year, reaching number 1, arguably the first rap song to do so with no pop or dance gimmicks. Dave then released his album Psychodrama months later to start 2019. The urban scene and gained another number 1. Big Trap's Location and Streatham showed his wide musical range and proved the urban scene was creating stars. There was no need for pop.
Everybody round me rowdy.
I hope they feel the same when we meet up.
2019 also saw UK Wave have a big surge with artist D-Block Europe's trap and autotune style reaching charts and a lot of mainstream radio play.
Up in that kitchen, I don't need no apron.
Achieving 2 top 10 albums in 2019 alone, their work rate was commendable and led to a Brit nomination at the end of the year. Their song with Atlanta's Little Baby, as well as Chip and Young Bane's How It Is with Compton rapper Roddy Ricch, would show the style's international appeal.
When I make a meal, 95 when an option.
NSG took Afro Swing to the charts as well with J5 on Big Hits Options featuring Tion Wayne and OT Bop, charting at 7th and 17th. Many subgenres of urban music were now getting mainstream exposure and success.
Man, gun lean on the beat as well.
Drill wasn't missing out on the limelight either, with Russ releasing 2 drill anthems in Gun Lean and Keisha and Becky, both hitting top 10s and had all-star drill artist remixes, massing millions of views.
Sexy, Keisha,
Cop it, chop it, press it.
Digga D from CGM, formerly 1011, who had to change name due to a police ban after freestyles were linked to criminal gang cases, managed to also get a top 20.
I spy with my little eye.
Crept and Conan achieved a number 5 album on their 5th project in the game, including a top 20 drill single, I Spy, featuring K-Trap and Heady One.
Tryna make sure I double that read. 1800 for the new Rusty. Man, grab it and kick it like rugby.
Heady One's critically acclaimed album, Music and Road, also reached number 5 that year, with singles 1800 and both, solidifying himself as a leading drill artist in the scene.
They want me back on soul, choosing chips and rice, tryna pattern me both.
Big 4-4 called Maggie, what's my cologne?
The top 10s in 2019 also contained So High by rappers Mist and Fredo, who by this point had 2 top 5 albums.
Get so high.
You know that I'm feeling your style, mama. You know we got it like for the whole summer.
Just wanna eat Sailor Run.
Mo Stack and AJ Tracy on Steel Bangles Fashion Week achieved number 7 also, with AJ Tracy getting a number 3 with his Garage and Grime mix on Ladbroke Grove.
Yo, it's the Hyperman set. AJ Tracy live and direct.
But Manchester's H slightly topped it with a number 2 on Taste, only a year after coming into the scene. He, alongside Birmingham's JK, would be on the remix of Ed Sheeran and Stormzy's Take Me Back to London, helping push it to number 1.
Outside quick 2s and a beer, you see.
My brothers don't die, we just rusty bark.
However, this wasn't Stormzy's only achievement of the year, with a second number 1 album for Heavy Is The Head, which included 2 number 1 singles in Bossy Bop and Own It.
I'm so in awe, girl, you never have to worry about nothing, you know it's yours, you know you own it.
Stormzy was the face of urban music when he headlined Glastonbury 2019 main stage and would later reveal a 50+ tour date spanning across 5 continents, cementing the fact he was now an international star. And J Hus directly followed by starting 2020 with his album Big Conspiracy, achieving another number 1 spot after the final odds having 0 music videos or promotion, proving the music and fan base alone was strong enough to help urban artists reach the top.
It's a big conspiracy.
After 20 years, actual urban music is finally where it deserves to be in the mainstream eye, with 3 albums and 3 singles going number 1 in the past year from the scene.
She want a man like me, she want a man like me, can't never been there.
Most recently, Skepta, Chip and Young Ads embodied the culture's unity with joint album Insomnia, achieving number 3 despite being dropped on short notice. The 3 rappers from different generations in the scene have mixed their individual styles on the album, showcasing how there's many different UK sounds now and how the urban scene has developed so much further than just grime.
Building coke and vodka, cocaine changing lives.
First things first, I just want to say, Channel 4, you fucked up.
The urban scene had always been bigger than just music. It's a culture. It now features across many platforms of the media, such as Grime Original Big Nasty having a talk show on Channel 4.
Can't shoot a civilian, but she tested.
You get me?
TV streaming giants Netflix recently produced Top Boy, starring So Solid's Ashley Walters, Kano and Dave, with a soundtrack featuring the biggest acts in UK urban music. And Bugsy Malone even reached the big screen by featuring in blockbuster film The Gentleman earlier this year, whilst crossing over into fashion as well, like many other artists such as Mist and J Hus having their own clothing brands. Streetwear Kings JD also used rappers for their adverts to appeal and set trends, and the scene has touched the sports industry, with Rapman doing an official Premier League rap-up and numerous urban artists featuring across FIFA soundtracks.
Let's start with this, the experience you had going to the Houses of Parliament. So you were invited by Diane Abbott to be involved in a conversation about drill music and about sort of the impact of drill music and a potential ban on that sort of music.
But most importantly, people of the culture are now being listened to. Crept and Conan's band Drill Song took them all the way to Parliament and was an example of how artists can make a change against injustice.
I said whoever banned drill.
Being the voice for young black people in the UK, a country where we often go unheard, had always been at the foundations of urban music. So now with stars like Stormzy, J Hus and Dave representing the scene at the highest levels, the future and possibility for UK urban music and its culture seem endless.
But Grenfell victims still need accommodation, and we still need support for the Windrush generation, reparations for the time our people spent on plantations. I'm
gonna make my nigga show you the levels and make you know what time it is.
These niggas acting like they clapping them gauges, but nothing can't happen in ages. They be talking like they hard till I run up in the yard and they end up on the papers. The papers. These niggas acting like they clapping them gauges, but nothing ain't happened in ages. They be talking like they're hard till I run up in the yard and they end up on the papers.
How these niggas doubt the dude? Can't they see I'm about to take off out the tube?